Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source for quality, affordable land, this time in the state of Colorado. Yes, everybody, we are back in the Rocky Mountain State in a subdivision in a region that our buyers really like. It's performed very well for us in the past, even at the prices that we typically offer land at in this area. Of course, these are very popular for the reasons that you see enumerated here in the headline. Forested lots, close to power, close to Trinidad Lake State Park. More specifically, however, is the word unrestricted, which means that there is no HOA, no annual dues, and I will say very, very, very minimal covenants and restrictions. So minimal, they border on being non-existent. We will, however, discuss those later in the video. Now, I should let you guys know, this is a 5-acre property for $29,000. We've actually got the adjacent 5 acres also listed for $29,000, so 10 acres altogether. I'm going to discuss all of this in one video. We're going to post it on both listing pages. Very minor differences between the two properties. If you really want to dig into it, you can come down here to our property-specific notes. This will enumerate whatever minor differences exist between these lots, number one. And number two, of course, down here at the bottom of the page, we have photos from the respective properties that will demonstrate to you whatever differences exist in the topography. Should be noted, guys, because both of these are pretty large 5-acre lots, the photos are not just recycled from the first listing to the second listing. Nay, our photographer took 40 photos from both properties. Whatever the case, with all that said, let's get to introing these. These are reference numbers LACO-1775, A and B, both located in Los Animas County, Colorado, specifically in the Rancho La Garita subdivision. And both of these are, as noted above, 5 acres priced at $29,000. As with all of our listings, guys, we got GPS coordinates down here. Come down here, click on any one of them, and voila, on Google Maps, the property shall appear. So first off, for those of you not intimately familiar, as we like to say, intimately familiar with the geography of the state of Colorado, this right here, this square that you can kind of barely make out on Google Maps, this is Colorado. And these properties are located down here in the southern portion of the state in Los Animas County. Los Animas County, of course, borders New Mexico to its south. Anyway, should be noted, guys, if you know nothing else about Colorado besides skiing, marijuana, and Denver is just up here, roughly about 3.5 hours north of the subject property. If we right-click and measure distance, you will see that Google Maps backs me up on that. 173 miles, but I believe the drive time is about 3.5 hours, something like that. Whatever the case, between Denver and the subject property, you have such happening towns as Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Walsenburg. We'll include Walsenburg in the happening towns list. And, of course, ultimately down here, Trinidad, which is closest to the subject property. Do we have photos of Trinidad, guys? You bet we do. But boom, right here. So, as noted, guys, you're going to be roughly about 10-15 minutes just outside of Trinidad if you purchase this property. This, Trinidad, by the way, look at this bucolic western town. Population roughly 8,000, give or take. Anyway, of course, this is going to be the place that you go for groceries and supplies and whatever else that you may need. Of course, right here we have the Mount San Rafael Hospital, which is in very close proximity to the subject property. If anything ever goes pear-shaped, if you ever need medical attention from the subject property to here, is not a very far drive. Of course, we've also got the City Hall out here, public libraries, the Justice Center. We wrote down here the Trinidad Justice Center in case you couldn't read it here in the caption. And other things such as schools. A lot of schools out here, so if you do have a family, they will be able to be in pretty close proximity of high schools, middle schools, so on and so forth. Of course, everybody always wants to know, where's the nearest Walmart? Luckily, guys, it's here in Trinidad, so if you do buy the property with the intention of building, you are going to be none too far from groceries and supplies, hardware, lumber, so on and so forth. Additionally, we got a big R store out here, which also has hardware, and I assume some lumber. I've never been. And, of course, guys, grocery stores out here, Family Dollar, O'Reilly Auto Parts, so on and so forth. As you can see from the photos here, downtown Trinidad looks like a pretty happening, little quaint little rustic town. We've got some copyright infringement here, which I'm sure the Disney lawyers will be issuing a cease and desist order on any day now. And, of course, I just want to show you guys this one. This one blew me away. Trinidad actually has an overlook like this with a giant sign that says Trinidad, like the Hollywood sign. Apparently, it's actually an overlook. You can drive to it up here. I know this because my photographer complained about a guy who parked his car up here for an hour while he was trying to get the best shot. Whatever the case, you're up pretty high up here. Up so high, it said you can see all the way to Tobago. Yes, that was a geography joke. I'm great at parties. Anyway, guys, outside the town of Trinidad, of course, we have the Trinidad Lake State Park just over here. Of course, this is just right in the backyard of the subject property. You're going to have easy access to boating, fishing, jet skiing, swimming, so on and so forth. And of course, as always, guys, we have photos of that in case you haven't been, in case you are not familiar, to give you a sense of exactly how picturesque, how pretty this region is out here. Of course, we also have links to the Trinidad Lake State Park website on our website where you can go for reference, investigate all the great things that you can do out here. They also have a very helpful map, I should point out, which has all the sort of, well, here you can read passes and permits, fishing, boating and water sports, picnicking and group facilities, so on and so forth. But then you also get the key of all the things that are available out here. Amphitheater, archery range, boat ramp, camping, dump station, look at that, fishing, so on and so forth, guys, hiking, RV parking, things like that. I'll let you guys look this one over on your free time. Whatever the case, we do have photos from the lake just to give you a sense of what that looks like out here. Anyway, guys, back to the subject property. So just sitting a little bit northwest of Trinidad Lake State Park, just up here along the, well, you're taking the 12 out here and you're banging a sharp right down here along County Road 41.7. I believe this is the path of least resistance to get to the property. Anyway, the subject property sits out here along Meadowlark Drive. Now, I will have you guys know this is normally the portion of the video where I like to show you a copy of the plat map to give you guys a sense of the exact size, shape, location of the property. As of the time that I'm recording this video, we do not yet have the plat map. Hopefully it'll be up on the listing page by the time you're watching this. If it is not, however, you can refer to our Google Earth imagery, which will, again, give you a sense of the footprint of the property. Now, just a quick thing I want to note, guys. We're looking at the A property right now. The only real difference between A and B is that A's got a little more of a cutout region down here. A little more open space, so if you were going to attempt to build on the property, it's a little more accessible here, probably a little easier to build without having to cut down too many trees, so on and so forth. The B property is this one over here, where the vegetation is a lot more dense. The forestry is a lot more dense, okay? Anyway, back to the map. So the point is, guys, both these properties sit right here off of Meadowlark Drive. Now, regrettably, in the photo gallery, my photographer did not get a lot of good shots of the nearby power lines, so I want to give you guys a sense of where these things are. You will notice there are some developed structures right up here along Meadowlark, right here as well, and right here. If we zoom in on the map, you can kind of only barely make it out. I can make it out because I'm used to looking for these things, but you will see a utility easement running right here, and then it kind of goes off this way. Whatever the case, you can kind of make out the power poles that are out here. And you can see that power is servicing this nearby lot right here. There's a structure right here, and power runs all the way out to it. Practically speaking, from the subject property, the A property, the one with the open space, it's about 600 feet to that power line. They tend to end right about here at these developed structures. So it's about 600 feet from the A property, about 200 feet from the B property. That's where nearby power is. Suffice to say, I can't imagine that it's incredibly difficult or extensive to get that extended to the subject property. You will actually find a lot of developed home sites in this Rancho La Garita area. If you just kind of take the map and just kind of zoom in on it in different places, you'll see home sites in different areas. There's a lot of power running through this area, so this does not seem all that difficult to get done. It seems like a lot of people have kind of developed this region themselves, so likely not difficult to get power extended. San Isabel Electric Co-op is the company that services this region. We'll talk about them in a bit, but obviously they are the ones best to speak to about the logistics and the cost involved in getting power extended out to the land. Anyway, with all that said, guys, let me go to some photos here of the subject property. Down here, past the town photos, past the lake photos. This one, look at that, gorgeous, right? We have photos from the land. So this is Meadowlark Drive out here. My understanding, the photographer was speaking to the neighbors, and the neighbor said that they recently paid to have Meadowlark graded. Apparently what we're looking at is the graded version. This is the after photo, essentially. So photographer recommended that anybody driving out here, a lot of the roads in Rancho La Garita can actually be navigated by any vehicle type, but not all of them. So if you do choose to go out here, scout the property, or if you do end up buying the property and developing it in some fashion, you're likely going to need a larger truck or off-road capable vehicle. By the way, guys, this is the only shot that we have of the power lines. I don't know why, but there they are, 600 feet away from the A property, 200 feet away from the B property. Additionally, guys, it should be noted here that the A property actually has fencing along its southern border. So if we go back to the map here, The cutout area right here is basically where this lot ends. And somewhere in this region, you'll notice kind of a developed homestead over here. Separating the A property from its neighbor to the south is fencing along the entire southern border. There is no fencing along the rest of the border, along the western border, or along the northern border. And the B property also has no fencing on any of its sides. Just an FYI, the photo that you're looking at here pertains only to the southern boundary of the A property. Anyway, guys, as we go through the photos here, you can see exactly what this region looks like, how sort of lush the vegetation is, how many just sort of great trees that you got out here. Additionally, you can see the kind of the wide open cutout spaces that you have to develop the property. Easy to park on, easy to camp on, probably a little bit more than the B property. Obviously, there's cutout regions on both of them, but they're more pronounced here on the A property. Whatever the case, if you do decide to develop this, you've got a lot of nice flat land out here. For as mountainous as a region as it is, you do have a lot of nice flat land to begin building on, etc. Now, I will tell you guys, the rest of these photos are a little visually redundant. It's a lot of trees, okay? So I will advise you of a couple things. Number one, if you forward down here to the bottom of the gallery, as always, guys, we've got the drone shots and we've got the overlays to give you a sense of the footprint of the property and exactly what the exact piece of land you'd be buying looks like. You get a better sense of it this way. So you can kind of navigate through these and get a sense of it from all angles. You can also kind of see the developed home sites off here in the distance. I will also just quickly point out, as I go back to the map for a second, this Meadowlark Drive sits just a little bit over from County Road 41.7. This one's a paved road. This is one that's got power running up and down it. There's a little bit of a distance, a little bit of a gap here between the subject property and this, but the point is that you do have some pretty nice roads just very close to the property. You can kind of see them here in the drone photos, how they snake through this region and how these are paved, how these are county-maintained roads very close by. Anyway, guys, so aside from the drone photos, we're also going to have drone videos down here at the bottom of the property of each specific property, as well as Trinidad, the town, and the lake. Those, of course, will be posted after I finish this video. Anyway, whatever the case, guys, I want to direct your attention up here to the top of the page. We mentioned earlier how this is unrestricted land, how Rancho La Garita is a subdivision that has no homeowners association. They have no annual dues. They do have covenants and restrictions, and they're so minimal. In the interest of full disclosure, I want to make you aware of them. They're basically nothing to worry about. But if you click on this link right here, it is going to bring up the Rancho La Garita CCR's Declaration of Restricted Covenants. Now, guys, these are what we like to refer to as common sense, good neighbor covenants, good neighbor restrictions. For instance, number 1, firearms. No hunting or discharging of firearms shall be allowed in the area. That seems reasonable. You have plenty of great, forest, national forest, state parks, so on and so forth that you can go hunting in nearby. No hunting allowed within the subdivision. Point number 2 has to do with nuisances. Whenever you read covenants and restrictions, nuisances is always when you will read, no commercial, noxious, or offensive activity shall be carried out upon the track, so on and so forth. Point 3, garbage and refuse disposal. The long and the short of covenants like this is don't be a jerk. That's what they should say. Just say, don't be a jerk, okay? You're buying land in the middle of a forest. You've got some neighbors. Don't shoot off an Uzi. Don't shoot off a flamethrower, okay? As long as you don't have any obnoxious gender reveal parties that involve explosives, you'll be good. Everybody will be happy. Everybody will leave you alone. Whatever the case, guys, if you want to read through these covenants, they are one page, pretty easy to digest. Point number 4 up here has to do with, point number 5 has to do with building appearance. I can't believe anyone is enforcing this. These things were written in 1971, and there is no governing body out here. So you will find some trailers, you will find some mobile homes out here, some in better condition than others. Whatever the case, it is enumerated here in the covenants in, again, interest of full disclosure. Anyway, guys, back to the listing page for a second here. So also some things I want to point out to you in the listing up here. We have number 1, the San Isabel Electric Company is the one that I referenced earlier. Of course, if you click this link, it's going to bring up their website. Always a good idea to talk to the local utility, particularly if you're not going the route of solar. Reaching out to them, talking to them about, hey, I'm buying some land in Rancho La Garita. You got power roughly, 200, 600 feet from my property. How hard is it to get it extended out to the land? What does that cost? What do I need to be aware of? So on and so forth. Always best to ask them those sorts of questions rather than calling our office. We know very little about that sort of thing. Number 1. Number 2, guys, back here on the listing page, I will also point out to you, we have a helpful link here, Colorado Division of Water Resources. So let's be clear. We don't like to quote water table depth to people. New Mexico, all of our New Mexico properties, there's a website you can go to, the state engineer in New Mexico. Their website is not incredibly user-friendly, easy to navigate, easy to get this sort of information. Colorado, however, has a really good website for this that logs the well depth of all the wells in the state, and you can look at them on an interactive map. Whatever the case, the 3 wells nearest to this property are between 130 and 300 feet deep. And if you click this link right here, it's going to take you to their website. I just kind of want to show you guys how to do this so you can kind of play around with this on your own time. If you come up here to the well permitting thing, click on this. Come over here to Well Permit Map Viewer. It'll bring up a map of the state of Colorado. And then you really need to use your eyeballs. So down here, guys, this is Los Animas County in this region. Here's Trinidad Lake State Park. The subject property is up in this region. I'm going to pause the video. Hang on. There we go. So it takes a little bit of effort to find it, but where Meadowlark Drive dead ends just a little bit shy of the 41.7. That's where the subject properties are. And if we come up here to well application and final permit, see all the green dots that appear on the map. If you zoom in on this, you're going to see these developed home sites that I was pointing out to you earlier. Right here, something over here, but some more structures up here. All of these people are apparently utilizing wells to get water to their properties. And if you click on these little green dots, you can see, amongst other things, well depth. So the well depth to this property just north of our subject properties, the one that has the power running to it, that one's 300 feet. This one over here is 130. This one over here doesn't say. This one is 248. This one down here a little bit south is 402. Now, of course, I am not an expert, far from it, on water table depth or anything that has to do with the drilling or the engineering that goes on in something like this. I'm not entirely certain how such a disparity exists between 130 over here and 300 right across the street, but I guess it's possible. Whatever the case, guys, if you do have questions about this, it's best to reach out to local well drillers, vendors who work that region, who know and who can speak with greater expertise about this topic. What's it going to cost to drill down? How much per foot? How far likely are we going to have to go down? What am I going to have to spend on this well? Particularly if you're debating the merits or the cost associated with drilling a well versus, say, trucking in your own water. Those services are usually available in rural areas like this, but, Anyway, the point is, guys, you have those choices to pick from. This is a pretty good interactive map. I would recommend. Take some time, poke around on this. You may learn some things, okay? Anyway, guys, back to the listing page. So, of course, as noted, I just want to point out some hunting areas that exist out here, or just some kind of state parks. Well, actually, let me go back here. On the listing page, we actually enumerate, you've got state wildlife areas such as the Spanish Peaks Wildlife Area, the Bosque del Oso Wildlife Area. If you click either one of these, of course, it will bring up their respective websites where you can learn more about what goes on out there, how you can apply for a hunting license, so on and so forth, in both of these regions. Of course, in southern Colorado, so there's a lot of great mountain views, a lot of great forests to go, hunting in, etc. There's a species that exists out here. I want to say it's like elk or mule deer or something like that. It's like the largest herd of them in the lower 48 or in the country, I guess. Anyway, guys, back to this. So with all that said, this is the subject property. Again, we got 10 acres out there. We've separated them into 2 5-acre properties for $29,000 each. It should be noted, guys, both of these were closed on through Otero County. Title, Otero. I feel like that should say Otero Title. We'll fix that later. Anyway, Otero Title. Point being, guys, that we got title insurance on both of these properties. That means we will be providing you with a warranty deed. If you would like to purchase one of these fantastic unrestricted forested lots close to the Trinidad Lake State Park, just come up here, click the Buy Now button. It's going to take you to this. Where is it? This secure checkout form, where we are going to ask you for a couple pieces of information. First off, guys, let me point out, this is a non-refundable earnest money deposit of $500. The way this works, guys, it's a $29,000 property. I do not anticipate the average person could charge $29,000 or would want to in one sitting. So we ask you to put down $500. It proves you're serious. It proves you're ready to do this transaction, and then we worry about the rest of the money later. Again, guys, there is no financing offered on this property. We're looking for a cash buyer with $29,000 to spare. Whatever the case, if that describes you, we're going to ask for the legal name for deed, name or names. some contact information, tax address, so on and so forth, and then agree to the terms of service down here. Click next, and on the very next page, guys, you can enter credit or debit card information to place that non-refundable $500 earnest money deposit. Now, guys, it should be noted, when we get into this price range of anything north of $10,000, we recommend to our buyers, let's close through a title company. For those of you not familiar with what a title company does, we have some very helpful pages on our website to kind of walk you through what this process is like, what it's like buying land, what it's like exchanging money at this price range, how exactly this works. So most notably, guys, we got a page on our website called How It Works Buying From Us, where we have a type of closing recommended, title escrow, and this kind of enumerates the basic process here. You put down the $500, we draft a contract, you sign it, we submit it to the title company, and they do the rest. And for those of you who are saying, I don't want to sign anything, I don't know what it looks like, very helpfully, guys, we got a contract right here. Click this link. It's going to bring up a generic version of one of our standard contracts. But basically, this is one page for signatures. It enumerates all the terms that we have here. We do not draft these contracts until you put down money, and title companies do not do anything until they have a signed purchase agreement from buyer and seller, quote, demonstrating intent. So this is what we're going to present you. This is what we ask you to sign. Now, additionally, guys, we're talking here about title companies. We're talking about the escrow process. If you are not familiar with that, if you don't know what that means, we have a page on our website called Title Escrow FAQ. And I swear to you, if you read this, this will answer every question that a buyer has ever asked us about what this process is like, what it entails, etc. We always pitch this to our buyers as a benefit to them because it's a third-party intermediary, basically. You're not handing your money directly to some stranger on the internet and hoping that, one, they own the thing they're selling, or two, that they're actually going to deed it to you. But rather, you're going to this third party, this professional third party, and you're saying, hey, check this out for me. And if it checks out, which it will, but if it checks out, disperse the funds after the property's been deeded into my name. So basically, guys, you're going to give them the $28,500 that remains. They're going to put in their escrow account. They're going to do all the work that they normally do, all the title research, etc. And only once we have signed the new deed conveying the property to you will they release your money to us. That is the benefit of the title company. It provides a lot of peace of mind. Additionally, guys, if this is a property that you're going to develop and you anticipate at any point in the future you're going to take out some kind of loan, hey, I need $50,000 to build my dream hunting cabin, whatever, banks, lenders do not lend on properties that don't have title insurance. This, closing through a title company, is how you get that title insurance. So anyway, guys, read this page over, read over How It Works Buying From Us page, check out the contract. Before you get involved in a transaction like this, it's good to kind of brief yourself on all the moving pieces and how exactly something like this works. Anyway, guys, with all that said, I do want to thank you guys for watching the video. As noted, these properties have performed very well in the past for us. Our buyers really like these. The unrestricted thing is always a huge deal, whether you're buying land in New Mexico or Colorado or anywhere else. We always have buyers who are looking for this sort of thing. And of course, being this close to a state park like this, being this close to a kind of major town out there, we define major as anything with a Walmart, is always a big benefit, always an appeal. So anyway, guys, with all that said, thank you again for watching, and we will see you in the next video.